coast to coast, it's your hosts, the Lombardi Leap and Mersey FB. This is Beyond the Frozen Tundra.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Lombardi Leap, here with Mersey FB, talking about Packers football. Not the draft, though. Not yet. Because we have some more important things we need to talk about. We are recording this on Wednesday, and as of right now, I'm kind of surprised, but there is no news on Matt LaFleur, and this is one of those instances where no news is good news. But because we have no news on the head coach, we're just going to talk about some other coaches here because we ended at 9-7-1, and there's a lot to look at when it comes to this coaching staff.
You kind of got to take it from the top, though, eh?
Yeah, you definitely got to take it from the top here because obviously this is where all the controversy is. It's surrounding Matt LaFleur. He just completed year 7, right, as head coach?
Yes.
And completed year 7, so there's one more year left in his contract, and it's kind of like, should I stay or should I go?
I'm firmly on the stay boat, I think.
Yeah, and it's like, what do you do here? Obviously, I don't think he's lost the locker room. I think Matt LaFleur is a good play caller. I am a little bit conflicted on what you do with Matt LaFleur personally, because I don't necessarily think everything is his fault. But it's easy to blame Matt LaFleur because he's the head coach. He's the one required to get results here. And since we're talking about Matt LaFleur and people are talking about potentially replacing him, I want to get your thoughts on this. One of the things that I see people talk about is culture, locker room culture. They're just soft. They're wearing sleeves when it's winter. They're talking about playing in domes when Jordan Love gets hit. They're not really standing up for their quarterback. Like, do you feel like that? Like, there's a soft culture there in the locker room?
I mean, coaches can only do so much. It's part of that is about the players they bring in to play. So, like, yes and no.
Like, I look at guys like Bullard. I don't think Bullard is a soft individual, especially by the way he talks.
I mean, LaFleur is, like, he has gotten more heated over the past couple seasons.
Mm-hmm. But then they accuse him of being emotional.
Yeah, well, people just don't understand then.
I don't think they're soft. Like, I don't think that's the issue. And I think the issue kind of stems what this episode's about is not necessarily Matt LaFleur. It's the people who are underneath him are causing some issues here. I think that the people have bought in, or the players have bought into Matt LaFleur's scheme. He's developed Jordan Love. He's been predictable at times. There's been some questionable game management skills, and we talked about that versus the Bears. They couldn't really do anything to stop the blitz. But do you think that was Matt LaFleur not adapting? Do you think that was Matt LaFleur choking? That's the narrative that's going out there. Is Matt LaFleur soft? He's indecisive. He's choking. And is that who you want leading your team?
Well, God, I mean, there's so many ways to explain this.
I know. There really is.
Like, yes, he gets predictable. Yes, he takes his foot off the gas. But when you look back at every game, so many other things have gone wrong. That just kind of compound the issue.
But people will say, look at San Francisco. They dealt with injury. They had the other things go wrong. And yet they're playing this upcoming weekend and we're not. I'm not saying I agree with that statement because last year they had less injuries and I think they won 6 games?
They have had, of the significant injuries they have had less than us. Ayuk was out most of the year, but that's a contract thing. The significant injuries they've had have been Nick Bosa, Michael Williams, and Fred Warner. And Brock Purdy for a period of the year. But, there isn't really a noticeable difference between Mac Jones and Brock Purdy.
Ooh,
at least
man,
in a Shanahan scheme. So, that's the hot take for the day of the episode. But when you see teams like that, yes, they face this, you can say, yes, they had injuries, but a lot of them didn't happen until fairly recently. Like, Kittle was in the playoffs. Michael was a couple of weeks before the playoffs started. They lost Bosa early, but still.
Regressing, too. None of those guys are on the level of Micah Parsons, or I would even argue Devontae Wyatt at this point. That's just my opinion.
Same. It's comparing apples to oranges in some points. So
yeah. I didn't think they had more than 8, and they had injuries last year. So I don't think it's fair to compare because like I understand it. Injuries aren't an excuse, but they are an excuse. And there are some questionable game management situations here. I think he led the league in what they constitute as unnecessary timeouts. And then during the Bears game, you call a timeout and then you have a delay a game right after you call a timeout, which contributed to us losing the game. You're running it from under center way more effectively in the first half. Obviously, they made some adjustments to start blitzing more. I don't think the game plan was helped by the fact that Rasheed Walker chose to play his worst game of his entire life that I've ever seen from a left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of, has Matt LaFleur kind of peaked here? And that I think is a question that I do struggle with. Is this where is this the best it's going to get because of where he's at? And it's not to say Matt LaFleur isn't a good coach. I'm not saying that at all whatsoever. I'm not saying that Matt LaFleur can't win a Super Bowl. It's the question of, can he win a Super Bowl here? And does he have the tools to do it? I know you said you want to keep Matt LaFleur.
There is times where like play callers eventually get figured out, and then they have to kind of reinvent themselves. You saw that happen with McDaniel, but he got better as the year like went on a little bit. I think LaFleur is still capable of winning a Super Bowl. It is just the staff that he surrounds himself with kind of limits him.
Yes. Yeah.
I will say the only hire that he has knocked out of the park has been Hafley throughout his tenure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of anybody else.
When Hackett was here, I can't remember if he was a holdover from a previous coaching staff or if he was
no,
or
Hackett
if LaFleur
Hackett
hired him in.
LaFleur did hire him. Hackett was
Okay.
was Jacksonville's offensive coordinator, lost his job there.
Okay, so that was like a ground rule double compared to like the home run Hafley hire. And
Yeah.
that is like the best staff hire I can think of in recent history for LaFleur specifically. Because when you think of the current defensive staff, you have to imagine that was who Hafley wanted.
Yeah, I definitely think there was some heavy influence there from Jeff Hafley.
Mm-hmm.
Matt LaFleur brought in somebody like himself on the defensive side of the ball. And
Yeah.
I don't want to get too much into the defense here yet, because like we are speaking of offense here. There's a lot that I think went wrong offensively that you can point to and say, what? Like, what are we doing? Like, why are we doing this? And I bring this up because we talk about who was hired, and I do think it's important to know. I'm gonna give you some numbers here, okay, to kind of put this all into context, because we're kind of sounding like, oh, we're blaming the coaching staff for every single issue that's gone wrong. And so here are some numbers. All right. Here's how every playoff team's on the field NFL coaching experience sits. So what this is basically, this is how many years these playoff teams have coaching staff. These coaching staffs have experience outside of their time with their current program. So they're basically saying, hey, these coaches had got experience elsewhere. Who do you think is number one in the playoffs right now? So it's only playoff teams.
Only playoff teams. San Fran.
San Fran is actually
If-
close. They're close.
If they're like dead last, don't lie to me.
No, they're close. 102 years.
Okay, so if it's not San Fran, I would say it's an AFC team.
Same division as San Fran. I'll give you a big hint.
Oh wait, what?
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yes, it is. Seattle has 129 years of outside coaching experience. From their
That's
current-
shocking to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you think Green Bay is?
Dead last.
Yes. 47 years only. 47 years. And like a couple of those are just between I think like half of it's between like two coaches. Here's where it gets here's a big one too. How does the assistant pool match up compared to other playoff teams? So we're talking about assistant pool experience. 21 years. Seattle has 119. The next closest here, okay? The next closest was the Pittsburgh Steelers. We all know how that went, with 48.
Mm-hmm.
That's over double the experience. So you have a coaching staff that has literally no experience outside of this organization, and they really have no just no experience overall. So as we look at this coaching room here, Adam Stenavich, I think you and I both know where this guy needs to go. And it is nowhere near the offensive line room, nowhere near the offensive coordinator. I think he needs to go.
Yeah, because when you look at our offensive coaching staff past LaFleur, so like Stenovich, Butkus, Dunn, Mahaffey, Mannion, Sermons, all of these people, most of them have been internal hires, and so that allows us to save money in assistant coaching. But now in today's NFL, assistant coaching really matters
Yes, yeah,
because
100%.
these are the guys who spend like the most amount of time coaching the players up. If you kind of cheap out on that, you're not getting the same great development, especially when we draft players who like really need development sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. To kind of put it into perspective here, when it comes to experience outside of the organization on the offense, Adam Stenavich has 0 years. Sean Mannion, 0 years. Jason Vrabel, 0 years. Ben Siermans has 4. He's a holdover who was originally a member of Mike McCarthy's staff. Wide receivers coach Ryan Mahaffey, 0 years. Tight end coach John Dunn, 2 years. Luke Butkus, 0 years. So none of these guys, all these guys, they've just known Green Bay. That's it. That's all they've
Mhm.
really known.
And like this also leads to like some things getting stale because when you bring in new coaches, you bring in new ideas.
I would even say underdeveloped too. Like
Hmm.
I would go that far to say because I don't think it's a coincidence here. Jason Dunn has 2 years of, or sorry, John Dunn. John Dunn has 2 years experience elsewhere, and I like Tucker Kraft, man. Like he got, I think John Dunn got a lot out of that tight end room, especially Tucker Kraft. Go to there. I think if you look at Searmans too. Josh Jacobs already good. Manuel Wilson could probably be a starting running back on 15 other teams. And Chris Brooks has done well as a pass protector. So those are 2 rooms that have 2 coaches with external experience, and they're playing well. I don't think our wide receivers have been consistent. I don't think our offensive line has been consistent, especially this year. And when it comes to even Adam Stenavich and Luke Buskis both being good offensive line coaches, everybody wants to point to, well, a couple years ago they were good. They just dealt with injuries. Okay, here's my one counter to that. The Packers draft offensive linemen who are naturally good at pass protection.
Hmm.
They're just naturally good at that. How often do you see any of these guys improve in run block?
Very little.
Very little. Like, they just don't. Like, they improve at something they're already naturally good at. Like, that to me tells me you have these coaches who are low skill, and they maybe help them improve a little bit more than they already naturally are talented at pass blocking because that's what they come out of college being proficient at, but they can't even help them develop their run blocking prowess. To me, it just says you're not a good coach, and you need somebody else in there. I know there's a couple of guys here that you were interested in specifically. Like, I mean, these guys, depending on what happens with Matt LaFleur, let's say they're most likely to be gone either way. I think they know it. I know it. Everybody knows. Who are you kind of looking at here to replace these guys?
So offensive coordinator is a little different because you're not bringing this guy in to call plays, and that's what really like excites a lot of offensive coordinators. I do think though bringing in a new OC would help reinvigorate LaFleur with new ideas and you can kind of hand over some of the game planning. And so someone I'm looking at for that is the passing game coordinator for the Rams, Nate Scheelhaas. He's young. He's kind of really been on the upward trend. I'm
I
not really sure. Like he's gotten a lot of buzz for other offensive coordinator jobs
mhm.
or even the odd head coaching one. So I don't know if he would actually take this job.
Yeah, I could see him getting an offensive coordinator job just because of how many defensive-minded head coaches there are gonna just have to be.
There's if you're moving on to offensive line if you're moving on from Butkus as offensive line coach, there are some options out there.
Yes, there's in-house, Camden, who
Yeah, he's
was
a scout right now. He's in the scouting department, but he could come back. You could look at bringing in Bill Callahan.
I would throw whatever money he wants at him.
Yeah, I
I
would
would.
just blank check him. And then the other name I'm kind of looking at is assistant offensive line coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, Greg Austin.
That's always smart. Eagles always have a really good offensive line.
He's learned from Jeff Stoutland, and now you're kind of giving him the opportunity to prove himself as an offensive line coach.
And he brings that, like, gritty mentality too, because that's what the Philadelphia's offensive line is known for, just getting it
Hmm.
done, getting the technical stuff down. I do like that. I haven't looked too heavily into, like, a wide receivers coach. I
Well,
know
no, like I haven't either really, but when you look at like recent wide receivers coaches who are having success, like
Antoine Randall L.
yeah, hmm or I think Reggie Wayne is coaching receivers in Indy, or I think it's Reggie. I
Yeah,
could be
Reggie
wrong.
Wayne. Yep, Reggie Wayne is the wide receiver coach for the Indianapolis Colts.
So like if you copy from that idea, you can look at bringing someone in like James Jones, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, if they'd be willing to. Jordy's
Yeah,
busy because he's the NFLPA president,
I was gonna say
but
Jordy is a little busy.
Jordy's a little busy. But you look in and bringing in one of those older legacy wide receivers.
Yeah. I mean, wide receivers coach a little more. It is a little more difficult, but I do
hmm
think it's one of those things where you look at a former player here, especially, and I like the reality is I do think your offensive coaching staff does need to get retooled here. I think you can keep Sean Mannion. I think you can keep Ben Siermans. I mean, if they do promote in house, which 9 times out of 10 happens, you and I talked about this for the for the pod. I think Sean Mannion would have the opportunity to potentially be OC. I think John Dunn stays. I don't know how I feel about keeping Luke Getsy. I mean, I only kind of know Eddie Gordon from Georgia, and so I'd be fine with keeping him because he hasn't really,
Yeah.
you know, he's the assistant O line coach. Like, I don't really know how involved he really is, all things
hmm
considered.
And also when you look at passing game coordinator, I don't exactly know like the names that are out there to replace him
That I think you're probably going. I mean, you could give Sean Mannion like,
or give it to like Getsy.
yeah, I don't know if I want to keep Getsy though in
Mm,
general. Like, it's just one of those things where I
yeah.
think that if they're going to look at guys, they either need to look at some younger, talented guys from outside of the organization, and they need to bring some guys in with some who've been a part of playoff teams
Mm,
because like that experience is just lacking here. You have a bunch of green guys with one of the youngest teams in the NFL, and it shows. It shows in the latter half of games because they just rely on their athleticism and they don't finish. Obviously, like Jordan Love has been an upside here. This is a top 5 NFL offense when healthy, and I'd even say top 3 or top 2 when everything's healthy without injuries and that sort of thing.
yeah.
I
One of the interesting ones is Connor Lewis. He's the pass game specialist and game management coach.
yeah, he can go manage.
It's the latter half of that title that is kind of the issue
Yeah.
when you're routinely blowing decisions game management wise.
Yeah, you can go manage games somewhere else. That's where I'm at.
hmm And then when you're looking at who you could possibly bring in to replace him, maybe someone from the college level or just an older former like head coach.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't
So
mind a former, like, offensive coordinator, older offensive
yeah.
coordinator. I think that would be wise. Because like, if you wanna give somebody, because like, I think we can just get this out of the way right away. We'll just go to this. Special teams, everybody's getting fired. There's nobody that deserves to stay on that staff at this point. And right now, Rich Bisaccia has the title of assistant head coach. And so if you're going to bring in like a passing game specialist, I think you can kind of give them that, and they're an older guy. I think you can kind of give them that title that originally went to Rich Bisaccia because he's not going to need it where he's going, and it's not back on our roster. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, special teams is kind of like the elephant in the room that everybody knows something has to change. It has to change. They're bottom 5. It has to be like it has to be an organizational thing. Like the only good thing that's come out of special teams has been Daniel Whelan. That's it. That is it. The last 10 years. I want to talk more about like who are you kind of looking at here? Who would you replace him with?
The name that comes to mind like immediately is the assistant special teams coordinator for the 49ers, Colt Anderson.
Second best
And
special teams in
then
the NFL.
you would let him build his special teams like coaching staff.
Yeah, yeah, and like, that would be a promotion for him. I could definitely see that happening. And it's like there's definitely the Matt LaFleur connection there, and, people love to pick apart the 49ers and Rams, and so I like that, and it's also you're getting playoff experience there too. Another guy that I like, is Bubba Ventrone. He is, or was, I should say, I guess he kind of is, the assistant head coach and special teams coordinator for the Cleveland Browns.
He could be retained.
He could be retained. He could be retained, but he has the experience. He was with the New England Patriots under Bill Belichick for coaching. He was the Colts special teams coordinator for a couple years, and then Shane Steichen came in, and he's been in Cleveland. And Cleveland has had a pretty consistently good special teams, as well as the Colts did. And he's a Super
Hmm.
Bowl champion. Like been there, done that. He was a special as a special teamer. He was a Super Bowl champion. So I think that's important. I think that brings just a mentality and like if Packer fans want to talk about culture, I think he brings in a veteran understanding of what it's like to win big, and I do think that's important on this team. But yeah, you definitely got to let whoever it is let them kind of build their special teams and hopefully find us a new kicker because that's
Yeah, and part of like Rich Bisaccia leaving is your assistant head coach title is up for grabs.
mhm.
And so part of me would say, "Hey, Jeff Halfley, are you interested in the assistant head coach title being attached to your name as well?"
I respect I respect the attempt. I do. I don't think it's
Yeah,
gonna
but
happen, but I
probably
respect it.
not. More than likely, Jeff Halfley is the head coach of another team, so we have a hole to fill at defensive coordinator. But I
Yeah.
think most of the defensive staff, with the exception of Downer to Duggan as defensive backs and linebackers coach respectively, should stay.
Yeah, I don't blame what happened necessarily. Like, I don't blame the failures on defense on anything other than injuries primarily. Like,
Yes.
the linebackers took a step back. I don't think Sean Duggan was the answer. That was just kind of a internal promotion, and it's gonna be hard to replace Kevin Elliott. Like, he's done great things over there in Jack.
Hmm.
And he's getting head coaching interviews already. He got one with Miami. I didn't expect it to be amazing like it was last year underneath him, but I definitely think it took a noticeable step back. And again, I think that this is one of those rooms where linebackers are very important for Halfley's scheme, and because they're important, you need a really good coach in there.
I say you go away similar to our proposed idea for wide receivers coach, and you bring in a former player.
Who's that?
Well, the very interesting name is Luke Kuechly. He's the defensive coordinator for Charlotte Christian Middle School. Like, and Greg Olson's their head coach, so it's like a friend thing there. But if you can lure him out of Charlotte and bring him up as the linebackers coach here, that would be my number one option.
Blank check 'em.
Additionally, yeah. Additionally, you could look at someone. I mean, he wasn't the most technically sound linebacker, but like AJ Hawk would be interested in it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if AJ is. AJ's
Probably
busy.
he's probably not the best choice,
No.
but
AJ's busy smoking the weekly cigar on the Pat McAfee
a
show.
McAfee. Oh wait, no, I got the guy, the middle linebacker for the Steelers, whose name escapes me, and now he's retired. If Ryan Shazier would like to be linebacker coach,
Yeah, that would be interesting. He was an offensive assistant last year, so he's not really doing stuff.
because these are like the linebackers you really want to come in and coach were like the really cerebral ones who understand the position and the technicality behind it. Like AJ Hawk would be a good like culture guy, but like I don't know if he can really teach you the X's and O's.
Yeah, yeah, AJ Hawk would be like the frat boy in the room, I think, than an
Mhm.
actual coach.
Yeah.
And I
But
don't think we
like
need any more of those.
going back to like what the McCarthy staff did when they hired Kevin Green, something similar to that.
Yeah, yeah. Kevin Green had both though. Kevin Green could teach. Like that is
Mhm.
one thing that Clay definitely reiterated too, was that he could teach. And obviously, like some of this stuff is a moot point because it's going to depend on who the defensive coordinator is. Like, I think it's fair to say I'd be shocked. 9 head coaching openings, 8 if you count. Like, sounds like the Giants are going to hire Harbaugh. Outside of that, though, I think Jeff Hafley does get one of those positions, and if that's the case, uh, you need a new defensive coordinator and probably a couple other guys because he's probably going to bring some guys with him. We don't know who that's going to be yet. So, who are you kind of looking at defensively?
Who am I looking defensively for defensive coordinator?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Raheem Morris will probably be the top choice
I don't know.
just because of like the background um with LaFleur or the connections through McVay.
He runs predominantly out of a 3-4, and then he occasionally substitutes. So you're in essence, you're potentially going back to what you were before, you know? I don't think he's as clean a fit, and that's what worries me because I don't really want to
Well,
go back.
if you're not looking at Raheem Morris, then God, off the top of my head,
Jim Leonard.
Jim Leonard, but he's kind of like if Vance Joseph gets hired away, he's next in line there.
Oh, that is true. That is true. I
But
mean,
like exactly how long could you wait type thing?
yeah. I mean, and Jim Leonard is the assistant head coach and defensive pass game coordinator for the Broncos
Yeah.
as well. I do think it's possible though,
Who's
because
the Houston guy
well,
right now?
before I go to that, the thing with Leonard is he has stated if he gets the chance to go back home, he would like to.
Oh, okay.
He's from Wisconsin. He was born in Ladysmith.
Okay.
He went to college in Wisconsin. All of
Coached
his
Wisconsin for a while, didn't he?
yes, yeah, all of
Yeah.
his family is
Mhm.
in Wisconsin. I think that could be a real legitimate option. I think this is one of those things where I think he's more ready than he was before. He's gotten a little bit more experience under his belt. As much as I don't like Sean Payton, and I don't think he should be coaching in the NFL because of the entire Bounty Gate stuff, he is still a Super Bowl winning head coach, and to get that experience from a Super Bowl winning head coach is important. One more guy that I do think that runs a system that's very similar to Jeff Hafley, kind of for continuity's sake. What about Jonathan Gannon? He's fired by the Cardinals.
He was the other former like head coach who I would bring in.
Like, I think that's a definitely an underrated thing. He has experience. He has a lot of experience. A lot of experience. Atlanta, Tennessee, Minnesota, Indianapolis, obviously Philadelphia there. So there is a plethora of exterior experience there that and he played safe.
Hey, so D'Amico calls the defense in Houston, right?
I believe so, yeah.
What do you think about hiring Matt Burke as a defensive coordinator who would actually call plays?
That's a good one. That is yeah. That is I do like that, actually.
More than likely, the defensive coordinator is in house for us, like Ainsley or Covington.
Ainsley or yeah. Ainsley or Covington. It'd be interesting.
Should either of them stay?
Yeah, and that's gonna be interesting. 'Cause I feel like, oh man, I feel like one of those two could go. Whatever one doesn't end up going with Halfley or to be his defensive coordinator stays. And I shouldn't say that. I think they offer the defensive coordinator role to the guy who they want to stay.
Yeah, but you'd have to get that earlier.
Yeah, and I don't. No, you can promote him first and say, hey, like, we're gonna promote you if you like. If you want, you'll be the head coach. Because if you're going with Halfley, you're not calling plays. That's the thing.
True, exactly.
That's why. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who Vincent Ogambasa. I do like him. Our
I don't
assistant
know
defensive
exactly how
coordinator.
much he does, but like I like to keep him around.
Yeah, I would like to keep him around. If Covington either gets promoted or leaves, I could see him just getting promoted here. It is really going to be interesting to see what happens with our defense. Like,
Yeah,
at
this
the
is
end
kind
of
of the thing where it's like this is the speculation episode.
like, there's a lot here. I will say this. This is my only. This is like my dream hire. Fire Ryan Downard. Go get Pat Surtain Sr. Please go get Patrick Surtain Sr. I have loved every single Florida defensive back that is every single Florida State defensive back that has come out of there when Patrick Surtain Sr. was the DB coach there, and they have all been really, really good coming out. Every single one of them since he's been there. They have been good, and I've wanted to draft them, and we haven't drafted them, and they've all gone to different teams, and they've all been really, really good. So go get Patrick Surtain Sr. I don't care how much money, or whatever money you hand at them. Bring them in here. Bring him in here. I don't care if you have to give him the title of assistant head coach. Do it.
Yeah.
I know there's like a couple other former Packers too that I wouldn't mind, like Tramon Williams or Nick Collins, because both of them have played at a
One
high
more
level.
defensive coordinator thing before we kind of move off the topic. Flores is a free agent.
Oh yeah, I would. I absolutely would. If he doesn't get a
You'd
head
be like, hey
coaching job.
Flores, we have two of the best defensive players at their positions on our roster. Would you like to come coach them?
Come here, please. You want to get payback at 9 for ruining your
At
life?
Minnesota, yeah. Or no, like you'd be like, hey Flores, we have Micah and McKinney, and Cooper is quite good. How does that sound?
Like, what can you do with this?
Mhm.
What can you do with
Because,
actual?
but the other 8 guys are mediocre.
So he's like 10 steps ahead of Minnesota's defense.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would like that. I definitely would like that here. There is a lot going on here, so it's kind of like, I mean, the big picture. Matt LaFleur, what are you doing with him? Is he staying or is he going?
I'd keep him.
I'd keep him. You have to keep him for at least 2 years because that's your window, in my opinion. People don't like to hear that, but I would keep him. And I think that some of his issues, or a lot of his issues, are the offensive staff. I think you and I are pretty much in agreement for the offensive staff. A good majority of them got to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the offensive line coach, Butkus needs to go. Steno, I think, needs to go. I mean, realistically, the only two coaches that should stay are probably like the tight end coach and the assistant O-line coach and the running backs coach. Those are the really only guys that I see have provided any value to the offense. And the quarterback coach, John Mannion. Can't forget him.
Yeah. Mannion, he's like the prized possession of that offensive coaching staff room below LaFleur.
And I don't think he's quite ready for his own offensive coordinator position.
Well, no, you give him a year.
100%.
But you know how if people have mentioned bringing in for defensive coordinators specifically, bringing in Al
Harris.
Yeah. I don't necessarily agree with that.
I've heard he's not really an X's and O's guy. He's
that's kind of the thing. It's like when you bring in a defensive coordinator, especially for our team, you want someone who has the play calling mind and can be the play designer. And I don't know if Al Harris is there yet. I'm sure he could be, but I don't think it's right now.
And I don't even know if he wants to be.
Yeah,
guys.
He could just become the world's greatest cornerback coach and just go from team to team fixing corners for his whole career, which would be wonderful. Come to Green Bay.
Yeah, no kidding. Come to Green Bay. We'll pay you. Stay forever. Yeah, I mean, defensively, there's obviously going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of turnover, and like the Packers do have strong leadership on both sides. The cultural issue isn't necessarily that they're soft. I think it's that you have these gaps in learning, in technical prowess on both the offense and the defense that are just absolutely limiting this team and help it to not reach its potential here. It is going to be interesting to see. I'd imagine in the next couple of days here, we're probably going to end up doing an emergency podcast just because Matt LaFleur is going to get a contract extension or something else.
Halfway will be hired away. And I'm praying that day doesn't come.
Not an if, it's a when.
Mm-hmm.
So it is going to be interesting to see what happens there. I am excited to kind of, now that my sorrow from the Bears loss has gone away, I am excited to kind of dive into some draft prospects here, as well as just get ready for the draft for us. And I'm kind of glad. This is kind of weird to say.
I think like free agents will be the next logical thing, and then we start diving into draft stuff.
But yeah, definitely. Definitely free. We'll dabble in some free agencies. Mostly talk about our guys and letting them go and who might be back or cut candidates. I know some are more obvious than others. But other than that, like Packers got a lot of decisions when it comes to their coaching staff, and it is going to really impact the course of where this team goes from here. That is all, folks. Until next time.
To Packers fans coast to coast, thanks for going beyond the frozen tundra. We appreciate you tuning in. And as always, go Pack Go!